If you have been a Christian for any length of time, you have been disappointed and disillusioned with the limits and brokenness of your faith tradition. If you haven't yet, it's coming. So what do we do when our faith tradition lets us down? When this happens, many of us feel trapped in two choices. We either double down on the faith that no longer works, or we jump ship from the whole thing. We either turn off our minds and hearts and settle for what has already ended, or we miss out on the entire invitation of Christ. But friends, these are terrible choices. And thankfully, they are not the only ones. There is a third way, and it's called include and transcend. The spiritual teachers Ken Wilber, Richard Rohr, and many others have taught the idea of including and transcending our experience. We can learn from our past and hold on to the goodness, but we don't have to get stuck there. We discover that the answer is both and rather than either or. Our past experiences are both crucially important and criminally not enough. And a healthy future must be built on our past as well as beyond our past. Or maybe we can think about it in a more linear way. When we move on a journey from step 3 to step 4, it's easy to think that we are leaving step 3 behind. In fact, it's always tempting to reject the last stupid step that we were at, right? But it's that last step that got us here. Without step 3, there is no step 4. And so include and transcend helps us see that a healthy spiritual journey is actually step 1 plus step 2 plus step 3 into a wider and more spacious place called step 4. So what does it mean to include and transcend our faith tradition? This is obviously going to look different for everyone. But for me, personally, growing up in white American evangelicalism, it has begun with the realization that my tradition is actually deeply good in many ways, but it's only one small slice of the whole. And when I can see it as a sliver in this big epic story, it can be a huge gift to my life and a huge gift to the world. But when I see evangelicalism as the whole story, it can often become a really bad story. And we see this playing out in some ways in the world right now. So what is it for you? What are the gifts of your faith tradition that have brought you into this place of faith? How can you hold on to those? How do you include them in the life with God that you are now building? And then the other question, what are the limits? What are the aspects of your faith tradition that you need to humbly set aside so God can invite you into the next part of the journey? Friends, may we be people of memory and imagination as we get swept up into the eternal current with Christ for the sake of the world.